So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the section on pivot table for data analysis and visualization. We are going to run this session in 3 different sessions, and we believe God will help us to cover ground, because what we want to review in this pivot table, it's something that will take us time, not less than 6 hours. And we have actually earmarked 6 hours for this. So we are going to start 2 hours this morning, 2 hours later at night, and then tomorrow evening, 2 hours. So we look forward to having a great speed and with better understanding. So we are going to run through the session following this key, a guide or kind of agenda. So we'll be looking at the objectives of this session. What do we hope to achieve at the end of the sessions? We'll be looking at pivot tables. So the other things under these objectives are the things that will help us achieve the things that we have enumerated under objectives. And we earlier shared this ahead of this session so that participants can take time to read through them and then also help them to reflect on them as we go on. So we'll be looking at what a pivot table is. Are there rules governing pivot tables? We'll look at them. What does a pivot table help us to achieve? What are the uses or the functions? We'll look at how to create pivot tables. Then we demonstrate the uses and functions of pivot table using examples. And then we'll now take a little peep into dashboards where we want to create dashboards for visualization. What do we need to know and understand? So we'll be looking at that briefly. And then we look at charts and graphs using pivot charts. Since we are dealing with pivot table, we will now look at how to create charts and graphs with pivot table alongside its other components and accessories like slicers, timelines, and so on and so forth. And then we will now begin to look at scenarios with live applicable analysis. We are going to be drawing, we are hopeful that participants will share with us some kind of data that they often encounter. Then we'll be able to use that and see what they do. What are the key things you seek to achieve with those data? When you let us know, then we'll be able to attempt it in the class as we are. And then from there, we'll now begin to do practices so that we'll be able to understand what we are learning. So for our introduction, our objectives, we have 5 main objectives that we hope to achieve at the end of this session. We want participants to understand what pivot table is. We want our participants to understand how to create pivot tables from raw data sets. We want our participants to understand how to summarize reports using pivot table. We want our participants to understand how to construct dashboards, and we want our participants to understand how to filter and connect reports and display them in a subset on dashboard. So these are the things that we are hoping to achieve. So just give me a little minute. Okay, so these are the objectives of this session. And now let's take a peep into pivot tables. Let's introduce pivot tables. So we ask ourselves, what is pivot table? A pivot table is a statistic tool which helps to summarize and reorganize selected columns and rows in a spreadsheet. And pivot table is not just new to Excel, no. Pivot table is a part of a spreadsheet in a database software that help you to summarize it, you reorganize it, and do several other things. Just pivot it to look at it from different perspectives. It's important because it allows you to filter and extract significance about the data set that we are working with. You know, we are dealing with data analysis, and we say data analysis is just breaking down the data into smaller parts and viewing them to know if there is a trend that will help you to know what is happening now, what can happen later, and then you can use that to predict what will happen if you do certain things. It allows you to look at it in several ways and perspectives. Like I say, it's an integral part of many spreadsheet applications. And then you can also use it to do your data visualization in business intelligence. I'm sure some of us are familiar with Power BI, and we are going to be running tutorials on that, on the Power BI, how you use it. It's a business intelligence package that helps you to visualize what is happening in your organization, and we'll be able to do some. So in anything, if you need to do them well, there are some rules. So we have enumerated some key rules that we need to observe when we are working with pivot tables. And you know that pivot table is something that you create. So when you want to create a pivot table from a data set, the raw data set, there are rules for you to organize that set so that your pivot table will come out well. One is all columns must have header field names or titles. So as you have your table, the vertical lines are the columns, so they must have names, okay? And those names should be unique. You can have column 1 name, and then column 2 name again. If you want that column 2 to have something about name, it could be used surname, last name, first name, or whatever, so that the two columns do not just have the same name. The units of each column should be uniform. It should not be mixed. For instance, if you have a column where you are putting in values or money or monetary values, you can't have that column putting in a value that represents Naira, another one below it representing USD or pounds. It should be the same. If you want to use Naira and dollar or another currency, you have separate columns for them. This column is for Naira, this column is for USD, so on and so forth. It is important that we avoid blank cells, especially in first column. In a very advanced situation, there are ways we can handle blank cells. but those are not the things we'll be doing. It's good for us to avoid them. Can just write 0 if it is nothing inside. So there are ways, if you have up to 1 million records spread across thousands of columns, then you can, there are Excel features that within a minute, you're able to put zeros across all the cells that are empty so that you will avoid this. Then it's important for us to note that when you create your pivot table, by default, it brings totals for you, and you can also remove those totals. So it's important that your table should not have totals, because the pivot table that you're going to create will bring that total for you. If you forget to remove the total, you may end up including the records, that row for total, inside your pivot table, and it's going to distort and bloat the figures. Then I always emphasize, when you are dealing with tables generally, whether it is a grade table or an Excel official table or a pivot table, always leave blank rows and columns around your tables. So for the pivot table, I so much emphasize that because it will save you trouble when you don't really have time. There are times you have very little time to work, and then you run into an error. You even spend more time fixing that error or even figuring out what really happened. So I usually will say, leave those columns and rows, at least 1, minimum 1. Like you can leave up to 2 so that you can work very well around your tables. So let's look at the uses and the functions of pivot table. If we know how to create pivot table, why are we using it? What does it help us to achieve? 1, it will help you to summarize your reports. 2, it helps you to sort your data and present them in an order. And this is a little bit different from what we learned during our sorting and filtering session, but this also helps you to do that. And the reason why these are appearing here is that once you create your pivot table, there are a few things, there are restrictions that may apply. You may not be able to do a lot of things in the pivot table the way you would do on a grade table or even an official Excel table. So it's good to know that those things you would do in grade table and Excel table, you can also do them with pivot table. So like sorting our data, filtering the data, and then counting occurrences. Like if we were using grade table and we want to count occurrences or events or variables, we need to use statistical functions, logical functions, such as count if and then count ifs. So those are the things that you use. But for pivot table, you will see how very easy it is to use pivot table to do those things. You can also use pivot table to determine the total of entries, just like we mentioned that the pivot table helps you to get that. And you can actually sieve or filter and say, I want the total for so and so people that you are going to be extracting. You can do that with grade table and the other table, but the ease with which you do it with pivot table is amazing. And then it helps you to bring that with just 1 or 2 clicks. Okay, so the other thing is that pivot table helps us to do extra calculations, which were not originally in our table, where we are drawing our pivot table from. We are going to be demonstrating all these uses in this session. Your data outlook can also be reorganized with pivot tables. Then your sets of data can be grouped, and then you view them as group. Say you have something that you have done within dates. You may decide to say, okay, since this run across 10 years. You want all the events that occurred within three years, say 2000 to 2003, 2004 to 2007 to be grouped together so that you can have a better picture of what is happening rather than having a very long display of your data spanning across several columns and rows. So you can do that grouping and then you have a better picture. Now, let's look at when you are going to choose your charts. We have often encountered questions and requests for mentoring when people want to they want to present data using charts. They want to visualize their data and are going to present before stakeholders or funders. They have often asked us, this is the kind of data that I have. What kind of visualization is best suited? Okay, so we have come up with this to help in guiding us to choose the best and appropriate charts for our data. And then this has a lot to do with what you desire to achieve. Now, when you want to show a change over time, say you want to see how people have tested concerning a particular program between last year and 3 years back, or so on and so forth, it's good to use bar charts. It's good to use line charts. It's also good to use box plots. Now, at this point, I would also like to tell us that there are things you can do. There are certain graphs and charts that you can do using Gray Table and Excel recognized tables that you cannot do with pivot table. There are some charts that you cannot insert or create from a pivot table. And so if we encounter that, what we need to do, there is a system, there's something you can do to just link, extract the data from the pivot table and put it on the spreadsheet. I'm going to let us know that when you create a pivot table, you have created two environments on the spreadsheet. So you can work with the pivot table so that your pivot table can be feeding the other environment, and then it's easy to plot those charts. And then when you desire to show a part to whole composition, say there is a total contribution made by 5 states, and so you want to find out the contribution of each state to that entire whole composition. You can use your pie charts, you can use your stacked bar charts or stacked area charts. If you are looking at how data is distributed, you use your bar charts, histogram, violin plots, box plots. Now, I will also let you know that the ones that we'll be looking at here are the ones that are common to all versions of Excel. There are some of these plots that you can only do with Microsoft 365. There are others that 2013 cannot do. 2016 may not be able to do. Okay, so we are taking time to look at those ones that are, number one, we commonly encounter, number two, that are commonly available in all the versions of Office that are available. Now, the other guide is when you are comparing values between groups. Say you want to see what is happening in Benue State, comparing it with what is happening in FCT, or you want to compare the COVID situation in Nigeria against the COVID situation in Ghana or Cameroon, or even among 3 or 4 or more countries. You use your bar charts or line charts You can also group your bar, use grouped bar charts, violin plots, and so on and so forth, like we have seen. Then when you are observing the relationship existing between variables, you can use your scatter plots, bubble bar charts, connected scatter plots, dual axis plots. You can also use your heat map. Then when you are looking at geographical data, you can use your cartograms or choroplates. There are some of them that once you are on internet and your data has the names of the countries or the names of the state, and you go ahead to plot it using the geographical data, it will bring out the graph that will appear is a map where those cities or countries are located. And then you will see some spots or bubbles or heat map that are pointed on those things. So these are some of the guides that will help us in choosing the correct charts. I'd also like to let you know that these things that we are enumerating here, it is not intended for us to cover all of them. Because if we were to deal with charts, it's going to take us more than a month. You can, you know that this is the third weekend that we are doing this. Charts alone is going to take us even more than this. So we have chosen the very key ones are the ones that are common to us. And we always tell our friends who are learning with us to practice, to explore. Once you get to know and understand the fundamentals of a concept, options are there that you can explore and learn more. This is the way we learn, and especially in Excel, it's best to go through that way. Okay, so this is the end of this presentation. And at this point, I'm going to pause to entertain questions. And thereafter, we go ahead to do the other things that we said we are going to be doing. And let me call our attention again to those things that we are going to be looking at. We are going to be looking at demonstration, how to create pivot tables. So we are, after this question and session period, we are going to be looking at how to create pivot tables, how to demonstrate the uses, and so on and so forth as time permits us. Okay, so it's now open for questions and answers, and we are going to give 10 minutes or less. If there are no questions, since we haven't done anything, fine. We can just go ahead and type on the chat box, no questions, or these are my questions, or you raise your hand, so that once we are done, once we know we have stopped receiving chats about no questions and that, we know that we are done. Rather than wasting time, we may not even have to wait up to 10 minutes. All right, so the floor is now open. Thank you for listening.
Hello, please, is the class on break?
Yes, we are looking at is a question and answer session.
Hey, well, I'm in trouble, so I'm so late. Okay, so no problem.
So far, 3 persons have said no questions, but there is somebody that has just said, I think Margaret said, thank you for this presentation. I think we need to start a practical session before questions will emanate. I consider this a valid one. So if we continue to receive no question, I think it's best for us to just go straight and begin the practical sessions. Moreover, since this presentation had earlier been shared, and I think it has enhanced understanding of this first presentation. Okay, so I will just go ahead and begin the session. First, we want to know how to create pivot tables. How to create pivot tables. Now, we are going to be using questions to do most of what we'll be doing. Now, what I have here is a table of employees in an organization with different columns. Now, I'm going to sorry, it looks like network knocked me out. Am I back with you guys?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
we are with you.
Yes, you are, sir. Welcome back.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes this network don't have respect. Okay, so like I was saying.
No respect for our professor.
Like I was saying, okay, so like I was saying, if time permits, I'm going to share with us and demonstrate to us the features that distinguish pivot table from official Excel table and then the gray tables. So, but in a passing, I want you to understand that this one that we are dealing with is an Excel official table. I think I discussed that before, something I can't remember. When it's time, I will ask if we have discussed that. So I want to remove this filter features here. So I just go over here. Good. So you can see that each column has a unique title, just like we discussed in our guide. So this is a table that we can use. Now, this one, there are unique entries in terms of the employee column. Every employee here is unique, except where we had, in the course of our training, we had included some other people. Okay, so this is a good example of a table that is meeting our guide for pivot table use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach us how to create a pivot table from scratch. Now, this is a table and we are desirous of creating a pivot table. Okay, so let me just take this. Okay, I can leave this here. Now my cursor is clicked inside the table, and I'm going ahead to create a pivot table. There are two ways that you can create pivot table that I want to teach us. There might be several ways. One is through the long process. The other one through shortcut process. I'm going to demonstrate that up for us. Now, you see your ribbon here. We have file, we have home, we have insert, and so on and so forth. So I'm going ahead to click insert. Once I have clicked this insert, at the top left corner is my pivot table. So whatever you click here now, you are inserting because they are under insert tab. So I'm going ahead to click pivot table. Now, pivot table wizard, this is a create wizard, is going to predict and make a suggestion that I am seeing you clicked inside this thing that looks like a table. Maybe this is the table that I am interested in. And then it highlights all of them. You can see the dashed lines around it. You can see the dashed lines around it. And the reason is automatic this way is because this is an official table. You can see at the top here, whenever you click inside a table, if it is an Excel official table, you will see this table design popping up. If this was not an official Excel table, you won't see this, even though this will look like this. Okay, so it's not selecting this because an official table has headers. So it's taking this to mean that, yes, this is what you are desiring. It's just suggesting. That's why you see this as dashed lines, which means you can tell it, no, this is not what I want. You can now go and select whichever one you want. So now that it has made a suggestion for you, and this is a large table, you can go down to scroll around the selected portion to be sure that it has selected what you want. So I'm going ahead to go down. Let me be sure that it has picked all that I'm interested in. Great. It has up to 745 row. And even at this end here, I see that it covered up to my, this is before is K and from A. So I am good to go. So the process of creating a table, you are going to click insert pivot table, and then you select your range. You can see here that we have selected select a table or range. So this is the table. You can see the name of the table is already labeled this table 1. If you were not a table, you will see the range telling you A2 to K745. That's what you will see here. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Then the second thing is, where are you going to paste your pivot table? Where do you need to paste it? You need to define that. By default, Excel will desire that you put it on a new worksheet. This is desirable, especially if you are very new to pivot table. There are issues that you will avoid. So I'll be doing the two of them, both on a new worksheet and on existing worksheets. So for a start, we are going to paste this on a new worksheet. Now, because this is what I want now, placing it on is going to create a new worksheet on its own and paste it there. So I'm going ahead to click OK. When I click OK, just look at my tab here. I have the first one is suppliers data, the other one is data sheet 2, and then the employees table. of this employees table. So let's go ahead and click OK. It has just done that. You can see my pivot table here created on a new worksheet. So this is the pivot table that we have created. And for convenience, I'm going to click here and I'm going to write pivot table 1, just to note which one we created and at what time. Okay, so I'm going to give us 5 minutes to pull out the pivot table data for data analysis exercise file that I shared. And then when we come back 10:49, we will resume. So please go ahead and try it.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Is anyone there?
Okay, so we are back, and I want to believe we are all fine with that, right?
Please, fam. I couldn't get the table for the practice. I thought it was the two tables attached. The two tables attached, none of them look like this.
Are you look like how? Look like you don't have this employee
like
table.
the one we are. None of them are like
you don't
the
have
one we are.
Like this?
Yes. I don't know if
is that the same thing with everybody?
Good morning. I didn't get mail at all.
Sorry, who is speaking? Is it Margaret?
It's Abiola.
Okay, Abiola, you didn't get mail.
I didn't get it at all.
But from my own side, I have gotten the mail, but it's not this the particular one. I have searched for this data. I couldn't see it.
I got the mail and I'm working on it.
Thank you. Please, can you all check
it
your mail?
seems that it's on another sheet.
Yes,
it's on another. Okay, my
employee table.
Yes.
Yeah, my own was showing suppliers table. Okay, that's it.
Yes.
I've seen it now.
On it.
Check the other sheets. You can expand it.
I think it's clear now.
Okay, so we have it, right?
Yes.
And they should have even sent a chart, because what I am getting now is that those who didn't see it before didn't practice it for the last 5 minutes. Is that it?
Okay, yeah, I've gotten it now. I've created the new worksheet.
Okay, so that's fine. That's great. All right, so since there are no questions right now, no concern, I assume we all now know how to create pivot table from scratch. Please, Abiola, can you confirm if what you got, whether you got the mail actually, because you said you didn't get the mail. Abiola, please, can you confirm?
Yes, I'm trying to confirm. I'm trying to refresh my email to see if it's going to drop.
Okay, so while we wait for her to do that, let's go to the second way of creating a pivot table, the shortcuts. And this shortcut is also going to give you shortcuts to several other things you'll be doing. Now, remember, this is a pivot table one here. With the next one we are going to create, is still going to come just left of the current or active sheet. Now, I have clicked inside this table again. Now, when you look at all these points here, the file, the home, the insert, the page layout, and so on and so forth, there are shortcuts to go to any one of them. There are shortcuts to go into any one of them. And it's the same thing that applies in Microsoft Word. It's the same thing that applies in Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Excel, to highlight all these things and code them. So I'm going ahead to just click my Alt, A-L-T, the button that is just left of your space button or your space bar. So I'm going ahead to click Alt. You see all these codes are here. So it means if I want to go to File, I'll press F, and it goes over there. Let me escape. If I want to go to my home, of course, it's currently under home. If I want to go to insert, I press N and it opens up. Let me escape. If I want to go to data, I press A. My data tab opens up. So those are the short ways, the short forms of going about your operations from the tab. So let me go back by escaping. I escape and okay. Now I am going ahead to create a pivot table using this short form. And like I say, the first thing I do is to press Alt. It has coded them. My insert is N. I've inserted. Then my pivot table is V. Is V. And then I have this create wizard. And then if your table is well set, automatically Excel will guess right. If there are no breaks, say empty rows, Excel will predict, and then you hit enter. So I'm going ahead to hit enter, and it has created another pivot table 2, left of my active sheet. Right, so again, I'm going to give us only 1 minute to do that. 1 minute. The first time was 5 minutes because I needed you to go to your mail, download it, open it, enable whatever that needs to be enabled, and then do for the first time. But now you are an experienced user, you have created your first pivot table. So you use 1 minute to do that now. And I think that 1 minute is okay now while I was talking.
Please, is there any difference between the first one and the second, how it was done? I didn't get any difference.
No, it's the same thing. I say shortcuts.
So this
last
one is a
we did
shortcut.
Is shortcut, yes, it's just the same thing. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm sure we have all done that. Now, let me now come. I'm going to delete this. Now, let's go back to this point and then look at our questions. So what we have achieved now is how to create pivot tables. We have created that. Then we need to demonstrate the uses and the functions of pivot table. So we will use questions to answer that or to demonstrate that. So show all staff that are in West building. This is an example of a summary. This is an example of a summary. We say that pivot table helps us to summarize our table. Now, the shortcut, you start it by pressing Alt. Alt, the ALT button that is left of your space bar. Zira, your hand is up. Please go ahead and speak.
No, it's a mistake. It's okay. It's a mistake.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to answer the first question, and we will use this scenario to answer the first question and show how pivot table does that. All right, so show all staff in West Building. So we will now look at a pivot table, the environment, the fields. Now, after you have inserted your pivot table, you have created two environments in this spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet environment. Like you can see, these are spreadsheet environments. And then this is your pivot table environment. So I'm going ahead to click on this pivot table, then see what's going to happen. See what's going to happen at here, where I have my ribbons, the tabs. Another option will come up. And in addition to this option coming up, I'll see a field table here, pivot table field panel. So when I click here, this panel has popped up, and up here, before it was help that ended our ribbon tabs. But right now, we have pivot table analyze, and then we have design. If I click outside and click inside the spreadsheet environment, this disappears and these two disappear. When I click here, that has happened. So you need to know when to work in a pivot environment and when to work on a spreadsheet environment. So now let's go ahead and describe this pivot table. Everything that you need to analyze with using your pivot table, you need to do it with this panel and over here. So when you click any of these, they still pop up to all the various sub menus under each of them. If I click pivot table analyze, these are the things that I have. If I click design, these are the things that I have, all of them under pivot table. Now let's look at this point here. This is a floating panel. If I like, I can move it away and drop it here. If I like, I can drop it anywhere. It's floating. You see how it's floating? You can come here, you can fix it here. So just in case you are working and then suddenly maybe your own pivot table appears here, you'll be wanting to say your own is a different version, that others' own are appearing on this left hand, on the right hand side. How come your own is appearing here? And I think I'm going to prefer using this at this point here so that we can describe what we are going to be doing. Now, I have number one, this is my field. This is my header field. This is my header field. And you see that these are the respective headers in our original table. So if I come over here to my tab here, I click this employees table, you will see that these are the various headers. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now let's go back to the pivot table sheet. Let's count how many they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Just the same way that we have it there. Okay, so those are the key things we need to know what that field helps us to do. Now you can take any of these and drop it in any of these fields. We have the filter fields, which helps you to filter what you want to view. You have these rows, you have these values, and then you have these columns. Now, we are going to be exploring how each of them is used to visualize your, to view your data and do your analysis. Now, I would like to, at this point, to say that your headers can either be text or numbers or dates. Now, if it contains a mix of numbers and text, you will see it as numbers. Having said that, I would like to say that if you check any of this here, automatically it will either come to the rows field or value field, depending on the type of text, depending on the type of inputs that are in the original table. Numbers will automatically come under these values. Any column whose field is numbers will come here, and any column whose field is text will come here. However, we can force text field to come under values and vice versa. Now, when we click and the value we click, the field of that column that we click, if it is numbers, like I said, it comes under these values. And by default, what pivot table will do is to give you the sum of all the entries in that field. Of all the entries in that field. Now, let me take us back to our employees table. Here we have our salary, which is number. And then we have benefits, which is also number. So I'm going ahead to click on these fields and see how they automatically go to the value field and see what it is by default. So now let's go back to our pivot table. Here is my benefits. Let me click benefits. By default, it has come to this point. And you see that our pivot table, it has given us the sum of benefits. What this means is that every employee in that table, the total benefits for every employee is 38,121 Naira. Let me be sure if it is Naira that we are dealing with here. Yes, Naira. So that's what that tells you. If I now go ahead and click salary, remember that salary is also numbers. And once I click this, automatically it comes under here, and then we have the sum of salaries. Now you see that a pivot table has intuitively arranged them in columns. You can see the values here are in columns. It has brought them here. And you can see that the sum of the salaries of every employee is it 38 million Naira plus. Now, I could also, if this is not what I want, I could click any one of them and throw it out, or I can unselect here. Say, let me unselect benefits. Benefit goes off. Let me unselect salary. Salary goes up. My pivot table is back as clean as it was. Now, let's choose any other field that does not contain values. It contains text. And like I say, it's going to bring them here under my rows. So if I click employees, this is how my employees. And like I said at the very beginning, there are unique entries. There are unique entries. If they were duplicates, we will see them in counts. Now let's see the beginning again. I'm going to uncheck this and it goes off. Now let's check building. Building, we have multiples. So when I click building, there are 6 main buildings. Remember that building contains text in its field, and that is why automatically it has brought it here. Now, if we look at our employees table, this is the building, and there are several records. So what what pivot table does for you is that it brings out the unique entries. So what I'm going to do now is, if all the 745 or 44 entries contain only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that they are distributed among 6 buildings, then is it possible for me to know how many employees are in each building? Yes. So that is another time we are going to pull this. I'm going to forcefully carry this and drop it under value. The reason why it's forcefully doing that is because by default, it should be here and not here. So I'm going ahead to pull this building and drop it here. And by default, because it cannot add numbers, it can only count. So it cannot add text. It can only count text. So it is now counting for me that out of the 744 employees on that sheet, on that table, 200 are in the main building, 221 are in the north building, 70 are in the south, 63 are in Taft, 63 are in Watson, and in West, we have 127. All this will add up to 744. So if you have a very big data and they ask you, how many people are in so and so place? How many people are in so and so place? With pivot table, it's easy for you to analyze and arrive at that. Then the next thing that we are going to look at is, let's see how we'll be able to look at this with the concept of pivots in mind. We'll see that there's nothing here. Let's see, if we carry our department and drop here, this is how it's going to look like. You say, okay, so in the main building, we have account people, 31 of them. There is none from ADC. Remember that this is department. Then the creative department, we have 6, and so on and so forth. This is a very long one among all the listing. And you see, by default, pivot table has given you the grand total. So you can imagine what would have happened if you had included total here. It would have also brought the total here and then added this total here. And without you knowing, you may include that in your analysis. So that's why we say pivot table is going to create that for you. It has just done that for us. Now let's explore. Is this what we want? What if we wanted our buildings on this and while this one on this? Because things are better viewed, not better anyway. There are things that are better viewed on a portrait. By portrait, I mean that your entries that are long should come down on the rows, and then those ones that are short will come down across like this. Can we do something like that? Yes, you can pivot it. So let's carry this building to columns and the department to this. So I bring this one here, I bring this one here. It has changed this. So I'm looking at this now from different perspectives, just like we mentioned in our presentation. It is only pivot table that can help you to do this at ease. We can see we are now viewing this. It's no longer very long for me to view. Okay, so if this is what I want, I can go ahead and use this one and do my analysis or do my presentation, visualizing them if I so want. Now, let's pick something here. Let's go to status. Let's take status and put it under filter. Now, we are demonstrating how we are using these 4 fields to interact with a pivot table. Now, what this is telling us now is everyone here belongs to all the status. Now, what do we have in the status? We have some employees who are on contract basis. We have others who are on full-time basis. We have others who are on half-time basis. And we have those that are working hourly. But this table shows us all the employees, both ones who are working hourly, half-time, full-time, on contract. But assuming that you are interested in viewing only those who are on contract, you come over here and you click contracts. You're okay. These are the only people who are on contract. Let's see how many of them are. All the departments represented. There are 20. There are 20. Now let's look at this. We have 50, 51, 22. Just look at this so that we can compare it with when we do all. So I'm going to head to click all. What do we have? We have 200, 221, and so on and so forth. So it's different. Okay. So now let me click back here and bring back. Now, what if we are interested in looking at the people who work on full-time? This is our full-time staff, 110. If we were interested in looking at those who have half-time, it's the same thing. Now, assuming that you want to look at those who are working contracts and full-time only. Contracts and full-time only. So it means that we are selecting multiple items. So I will click here and I'm going to uncheck this and then check the ones of interest for me, and I'll click this. So this is now showing us those ones that are on contracts and full-time. Now, when you want to make certain decisions, I give us an example. In this organization, there are people that they want to increase their salary by a certain percentage. And they say those ones that we are going to increase their salary, we want to focus on those who are on full-time salary. Or you feel that there is a threat on the organization because some people are on hourly payment and they want full-time or they want contract. So you are asked, please, can you extract those ones who are on contracts and then they have certain criteria. Now let's look at those criteria now. We'll just do that briefly. Now let's look at what can we use here? Higher date, no. Okay, they ask you, we want to improve the people that are working in ADC. Okay, now let me select all of them so that we can use, where is my all? Sorry, I hope this is all. So let me use all now. Then let's see which ones have the smallest is ADC. So we say those people in ADC department, there are only 5 of them. Can we increase their salaries? Let's increase their salary, especially if they are working on contracts. So we have 2 criteria. 1, ADC, 2, criteria. contracts. Let's identify those that are in ADC and who are on contracts. Okay, so what do we need to do? We can carry our departments. Let's bring our department here. We have this, and let's see what we are going to do. ADC, these are the 5 of them, and on contract, let's see. There is only one person here. There is only one person here. So we can now pick out that one person and then say, okay, since it's only one person, it's easy for us to do that. Okay, so now for us to do this, we can bring in slicer. When we get to that point, we'll discuss slicer also. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is what we use to demonstrate the use of each of these 4 fields. So this is 11:19. I'm going to allow 5 minutes for questions and then another 10 minutes for us to practice how to play around these fields. All right, so okay, this is 11:20. So next 5 minutes, please ask questions and then we take another 10 minutes to practice what we have learned. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, please, I just, I want to make an observation and then you can, hello?
I'm here, go ahead, I'm hearing you.
Okay, so what I observe is that we are trying to sort of study about 4 parameters at a time here. Is that what we're doing by putting status, department, building, and count of building?
Yes.
Then if that is what we are doing, I would want just in a minute or two, if you can just show us the sequence again before we practice. That's just all. I couldn't get the rationale for putting all of them at the same time and the sequence for putting them at the same time.
Okay, what we did, thank you for that question.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so what we are doing is not necessarily, we haven't started doing any analysis. What we are simply doing is we are showing us how to use these 4 fields. How to use these 4 fields. It's just how to use these 4 fields. So let me take them away, and we are going to do that again. Under my status, I'm going to clear my filter. So what I say is, we just demonstrated what we can use this filter field for. We have demonstrated how we can play around with our rows and columns. We have also demonstrated what this field is used for. We haven't started doing the basic, but it's just for you to know how to operate in the pivot table environment, how to use your pivot table to do analysis. Whatever you put under the rows here depends on what you want to look at, what you want to visualize, what you want to analyze. When you put something here, it depends on, excuse me, it depends on what you desire to calculate. So this is just what we demonstrated. The sequence can be yours. It's possible I may just take my department and drop it here. And I know that in the count, there are 744 times that the department occurred. That will also tell you that if I push it to this side, it will give me the different departments. If I put it here, then I can decide to list anyone, say in the department in this building now. So for the ADC, these are the buildings in ADC. Say, what about for creative? These are the entries under creative that are in these different departments or building. Okay, this is my building here. So these buildings, these are the entries under creative. So if I say, okay, let me see if I'm interested in looking at marketing. Let's see, marketing appear in all these buildings that you can see here. So if I want to say, okay, let's see the total number of entries made for building for each of these building. I can pick my building and forcefully bring it to this here, and then it will give me count. The reason it's giving me count is because this is text. So I can do anything that I want with it. So you can see that here, I am saying that under this marketing, I have a total of 51. And these 51 are listed like this. 10 are in the main, 14 are in north, 4 in south, and so on and so forth for marketing. I can also decide to check, okay, for environmental health and safety. For environmental health and safety, there are 4 under main. There are 3 in north, one for each of south and Watson building, and the total of this. So I am just using it to demonstrate how you use this field. And then I can also, as Seydou, I'll come to you, please. I can use this, I can pivot it and say, okay, let me just know the number of buildings here. And sorry, okay, yeah, it's the same thing here. But I want to now know the department. I bring my department here, and then I count this there. So if I bring this one here, sorry, if I bring this one here and bring this one here, you see telling me the same thing. So let me look at my main. Under my main, I have this. This is count of building. There are 13 account management records under building. So just play around it, and then you will learn more. So if I'm saying your hand is up, hoping that I've been able to provide some clarification to familiar.
Yes, thank you so much. My hand is up because I tried to post the building into a value column, but it's showing me 1, 1, 1, 1 all through. I don't know where I get it wrong.
Are you sure that everything is the way I presented it here?
Okay, so let me try it again. Let me try it again.
Okay. So, Familian, did we improve your understanding? My explanation, did it? Hello, Familian. Okay, while we wait for her to respond, are there other questions? Okay, but can you all hear me, or you have lost me again?
Oh, we are hearing you.
Okay, thanks. So please, let's take time and play around this. And then when we come back, we'll be looking at more of the functions. Once we cover them, we'll do introduction to dashboards. And then we know we have 2 more to cover. That's pivot charts and graphs. So let's take, this is 11:28. Let's take 5 minutes. I know some people have already started that. So by 33 past 11, we are back. Good luck.
Please, can I ask for something?
Hello, everyone. I hope we are all going fine.
Yes, from my own angle, it is all fine.
That's good to know. So I'm going ahead to call us one after the other. Famsedi, your hand is up. You want to say something now or your previous hand?
His previous hand. Sorry.
All right. Okay, no problem. Dr. Margaret?
Yes, I'm fine. I've tried it and tried the multiple ones, and I'm good.
Okay, that's fine to know. Abiola? Hello, Abiola?
It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
Okay, that's
It's
lovely.
fine.
Good to know. Belinda, our friend from Cameroon.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so everything is fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Our friend from the UK, Blessing. Hello, Blessing, are you with us? Okay. Ifejoku Chuka.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, that's lovely. Clement. Hello, Clement. You seem to be speaking, but we are not hearing you. Maybe your network or something. Maybe you can type. I see your mic moving, but I'm not hearing you. Okay, so Julie joined late. So Julie, how far? Are you good to go?
Oh yeah, good morning. Sorry, I just joined, but I'm playing around the practice file. And
okay, so that's
possibly
fine.
watch the video.
So from Lillian. Okay, that's fine. From Lillian.
Hello, I'm fine. I'm okay. I got it right.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so Clement has sent a text that is okay. Clement, good to hear that. And Margaret has said she's fine. Babatide, Olayemi, we're on to you. We want to know how you're doing. Hello, Babajide, are you here with us? Okay. Seidu had previously said he's doing fine. Dr. Sunday, how are you doing? Ochai?
Yes, I'm tagging along. I'm sure I'll pick.
Okay, fine. Okay. More. Okay, so that's fine. Blessing has unmuted. Blessing, you want to speak?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine over here. Hello?
Okay, so that's good. Yes, we can hear you, Blessing.
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. All right. So we are on to Tina. Hello, Tina, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning. I'm fine. It's okay to hear. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, that's lovely. Zira. Hello, Zira Matthias. Can we know how you're doing?
Hello, I'm hearing you. Yeah, you know, I'm using my handset.
Okay, so
I don't have computer. My computer spoiled, so but I think I don't have much problem.
okay,
Hello?
but you have small problem. If you say
I
you
don't
don't
have
have much
problem.
problem, but
Yeah,
there's a small problem, right?
because I'm not using my computer to practice it. I don't have computer.
Okay, so
I'm using my handset. So I will still go through the recorded this thing, and if I have problem.
Okay, you can always revert. Okay, so that's fine. Thank you so much. So I just want to. Okay, I think. Okay, I think network is okay. So we have heard you, Zira. Thanks for the feedback, and thanks to everyone for the feedback. I just want to pause here and then give us a little information. You know that our focus at Havron is to see how we can improve professionals' capacity in different fields. Our focus is what can we do, both in terms of reducing costs and removing every barrier to learning. That's why we seek for scholarships from different organizations to see how we can promote our focus. So for this training, every one of you who have participated in this training, when we run this training again, you are free to attend at no extra costs. But for us to run another project, another batch, we need to have people who have committed to participate, just like you all did. Then we can have you join us again. We know that in Excel, what you have learned, you may need more refresher trainings to perfect. So for this one, you are free to participate. If we are going to run another module that incorporates part of this, if it's less than the fee for this one, fine, you can attend if it's the same curriculum. For instance, now, we have a training on pivot table alone. And that one is a pivot table for data analysis and visualization. That one is less. That one is, I think it's about 10 or 7,000, I can't remember. So when we are running that, because pivot table is part of this current one, and we need to do that, you can join at no cost once we are aware. That's why we created forums so that we share whatever we are doing, and then you can join. That is one. Two, we want everyone here to refer people to participate in this course or any other courses, especially if you know you have benefited from it. Now, for referring, we can give some percentage as motivation, and you can also get a group. We have group discounts for people who are coming as a group. An organization may say, okay, we have 5-10 persons we want to train. We know this is 15,000. What can you do for these people? Discounts. We can go as low as 10,000 naira for a group of 5 persons coming together. So I just felt I should mention this. We are going to have another training for exam regarding project management from one of the leading certifying bodies in America, PM for NGOs. They certify project managers for international recognition. So we are going to be providing more details in our webinar coming up this coming Sunday. That's after tomorrow, Sunday, next one, which is 3rd of October, because the exam is going to come up on last Saturday of November, and then the training is going to happen on every Saturday of November. And then the last one, we are going to hold the exam for that certification. Okay, so we have also shared that, and I think I'm going to share the link via email to every participant so that you can take advantage of that and get those benefits. Okay, so having said that, let's now go back to what we have achieved. Demonstration of uses and functions of pivot tables. So in a nutshell, when we are answering questions, when we are looking at scenarios, we'll be demonstrating more of that. Like
Hello? Hello, am I the only one up?
Hello, we're hearing you.
I'm not
No, I
hearing
think
him.
his network went
I
off.
think he has lost his network again.
Wadda ke ni na san matsalar a sai dai ka gane da mun yi magana da ce ya kake gani ko ba gaskiya ba tunda wannan shago ka gane yanzu in a ce za a yi shi a riga an shi saboda tun yau shago da wannan yanzu kuma a cikin shago ni babban damuwa na shi fa alajin ko a jikin shi wannan
Alhaji ko za ka ɗauko na baba ne? Bai dawo ba? Kai baba zai tsaya daji har yanzu? Alhaji ko za ka ɗauko na baba ne? Na ce zai tsaya daji har yanzu? Irin wannan rana da ake gabzawa ke wani ƙarfi ba. Aji Idris, ya aikin? Masha Allah. Wallahi shi ne kai ka baje abin yi. Ina cin duniyan shi da tsinke.
Hello, my people. Are you still here?
Yes, we are.
Sorry, I got knocked off again.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Okay, that's fine. I hope my screen is back again.
Yes, it's back. It's visible.
Okay, so what was the last thing you heard me say? Please let me know where to start from.
I think you didn't say anything. Just you are taking after the announcement. You made the announcment. So on your way making the announcement, we just cut off.
Okay, did you hear about the project management certification?
Yes, of course, we heard about it till the end when you say that you conduct an assignment. Exam for that.
Okay. So that's fine. The other thing remaining on our program is dashboard, charts and graphs, and then scenarios. So I would just like to introduce us to dashboards. And then when we come back in the evening, we'll discuss more on charts, graphs, with pivot charts, slicers, and the rest. Okay, so now, usually when we have data, I'm going to use this to demonstrate something that we need to do. Now, when you create your charts, you need to place them on a dashboard where you can see in a glance things that are happening around your system, things that are happening around your data, and so on and so forth. So there are things we usually take time to discuss when we have a meeting like this on how to prepare your dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to, let me just look at this. Okay, you know, your dashboard is something that will give somebody a very firm knowledge of how things are happening. You can see what I'm sharing right now, right? Can you all see my dashboard?
Yes. Yes, sir, we can see
we
it.
can.
Okay, so this happened. We created these graphs and put them in this environment from this. You can see this is a table. We did analysis and then we dropped this here. Now you can see these are our slicers. And when you are making your presentation, something like this gives more understanding and appreciation to your viewers. It's easy for you to just look at this and to see how you are able to connect all these things together. Now here we have that Ghana percentage that passed for MBBS is 75, because we selected here MBBS and we selected Ghana. So these are slicers. We'll be discussing this in subsequent sessions. So if I want to look at BFARM, for BFARM is 31% that passed for Ghana. So you see that here, this is BFARM, this is MBA for Ghana. And you already see that anything I do here is showing here. This is Ghana, this is Liberia. Once I click Liberia, this chart also changes to display Liberia. This also changes to display Liberia. And again, it's showing us here, Liberia percentage passed for BFAM. It's the same thing here. Here we are looking at the attendance. Attendance for Liberia. You can see also this is linked to here. If I click Nigeria, here also is changing. 55% for BFAM because BFAM is selected. Nigeria here, also BFAM that passed. So why this is talking about past, this is talking about attendance. You can see that these are different charts that we have employed. Depending on what we want to do, we have used this. For our own, for our notice, these are special charts. This and this, they are special charts. They are special in the sense that you cannot just go ahead and insert them through the normal way you insert charts on graphs. You need to combine a lot of charts together through different sequences to arrive at this. I think we are going to develop a curriculum for special charts so that we'll describe how we'll be able to do this. This is a thermometer chart. This is a progress chart. We have speedometer gauge and several other ones like that. Okay, so I just felt, let me see if there are other things that we have here. Okay, no. Now, how to do this is what we are going to introduce to. And because of time now, this is 2 minutes, so we may not be able to introduce that fully than what we have done. So this is what we hope to be achieving when we go into dashboard construction. But like I say, even the dashboard construction and visualization to make your reports interactive and dynamic, one session is not enough. Even one weekend, that's 6 hours, may not be enough to fully exhaust it. So we still employ and encourage everyone to do practice. Okay, even these ones here. In fact, none of these ones are simple charts. They are all special charts. This one is a combination of different charts. This is a combination of different charts. This and this are the same, but using different scenarios. So we're also going to tell us how to make your visualization, because there are visualizations that you make that will put people off. They will say, this is childish. So you need to understand your audience to know what color to use. You also need to understand your color combination so that people who have color distinction problem may not be lost in the presentation. If you use two colors that are similar, that are not contrasting, you can see what I've used here, they are quite contrasting. See black and red, you see black and blue. It's difficult for anybody to confuse whatever this is. They may not be able to say that this is blue, but they know there's a difference between the background and what you have used as your charts. Okay, so these are the things that we'll be looking at. I didn't say we are going to construct these types of graphs, but I say we are going to construct this dashboard. And the way we look, you can see there are no lines. How do we get that? We are going to look at that. How did we link this so that whatever we are looking at, they are displaying differently and accordingly as the figures appear. So those are the things that we'll be doing in this session. Hopefully by evening session, we should conclude the dashboard, the charts with pivot charts, and then we will begin our scenarios. And then by tomorrow, we should be ending up our pivot table analysis. Now, I have taken time to use 3 sessions for pivot table. You know that we lost one session. So we are going to use that session for pivot, our data toolkits in Excel. Our data toolkits in Excel. So if I have this here, and let me see, under my data, I should have this here. Let me see. Okay, some of us may not have it, so we'll tell you how that can come in, how you'll be able to bring it. If you look at under my home tab, you see this at the extreme right here, where that's depending on the system you are using, you will see this data analyze. So this is something that we'll be looking at in the next week. So we'll just look at this. That session that we missed, the day that we couldn't hold it, that was on Saturday, last week Saturday. So we use one more Saturday to do that. So we employ you to just indulge us with that extra session coming up next Saturday. Okay, so thanks everyone for being part of this session. We'll prepare for our evening session by 8 o'clock this night. So if there are no questions, I beg to drop off. But if there are, let's take 3 minutes to respond to them so that by 12:05, we are off. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. My own is just a request. Please let us now continuously use the data we work on in developing the chart and then the development of the dashboard, so that we will now start from the raw data up to the level of how to develop the dashboard, so that we should not change the data. That is my request. Thank you so much for your time.
The ones that we have been using for this demo, right?
The one that we use today.
Okay, so that's fine. We'll use that.
Please, I'm supposed to present.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'm on. Lillian is on the line. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Lillian, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm supposed to present a dashboard that is more or less related to activity, doesn't have figures. Like I have a row of 20 activities that are supposed to be done at sometimes in the year. So, and I'm supposed to present a dashboard on them. There are no percentages running on them. So I'm wondering if there are more graphic ways like this of presenting it instead of just, since it doesn't have percentages for me to work on, unless maybe I'll just, if I identify activities that have been done, the ones that are not done, I can now do a percentage I can now do a percentage of what percentage of it is done. I would like to have it presented in a more graphic way, unless I can send you the information for you to look at.
Okay, so Family, I think I understand what you want done. It's very possible and it's very easy. You can use pivot table. Pivot table will do that quickly for you. It's part of what we have learned today, using your count. So if you have your activities and then you have a column that you have status, and that status for each activity is either done, not done, have completed, not done. You'll be able to know how many that are done. So that how many that are done over the total number of activity, pivot table will use that to calculate the percentage for you, and then you put it on a dashboard. We are going to do that. So it's not a problem. If you got that, so I'm going to design something like that. That's used for program and project management. So I'm going to design a table describing activities, describing how the status of them per quarter if you want, or semester if you want, and then we can visualize that and say, okay, at the end of the first quarter, this was the percentage completion of our activities, and these are the other ones left undone. So those ones, you can now sieve out those ones who have completed. You sieve another one, those ones who have not completed, those ones who have not even started. You can sieve them out and then make recommendation that these ones who have not done anything at all, more effort can be done on them, or more support, they need more support, something like that. We can generate something like that.
Thank you very much.
All right, so thanks everyone, and have a wonderful and lovely rest before evening. I will try and see if we can share this immediately after now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, please also remember the recordings, please.
Yes, I'm going to share that.
Please, if you can send, because the ones I missed last time. Thank you.